Hi everyone, Lauren Culp here, publisher and CEO at CUInsight.com, and I am joined today by a very special guest. We are thrilled to have with us Dan Berger, the president and CEO of NAFCU. Hi Dan, how are you?
I'm doing terrific. How about you?
I'm doing good, hanging in there. Well, I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. We're so glad to have you, but obviously the circumstances around having an interview like this could be a little bit better. So we know that these are really difficult times. What is NAFCU doing to support credit unions and their members right now?
Well, first and foremost, our focus has always been protecting our employees, protecting our members, of course, protecting partners and things along those lines. But we've been answering questions 16-hour days, literally 7 days a week.
Wow.
My team has really risen to the occasion. My colleagues are knocking it out of the park. But they're answering compliance questions just nonstop. We've seen a huge increase in it. It's all hands on deck. We invested in technology a while ago to make sure that we were prepared, I wouldn't say for a pandemic, but mostly for weather-related situations.
Right.
So from a member-facing standpoint, we're providing the ongoing advocacy. We're doing video conference calls with members of Congress. I did a hearing a couple weeks ago for the House Financial Services Committee. We're doing video conference calls with the various regulators in town. And so from the advocacy standpoint, that's still going on, but our primary focus is getting them the information they need, whether it's the SBA's PPP program or other things that are going on behind the scenes. So we've been focused, member-facing wise, we're completely teleworking. We did it for weather-related situations, but it's working for the pandemic side of things. But the feedback from across the country from CEOs and their staff is they've been very pleased with us. So we've been very direct with our messaging and with our content, and it's really focused on their operations. So it's going well. There are some challenges, but it's going well.
Good. Well, yeah, it sounds like you and your team are very, very busy, kind of both ends, helping with the credit unions, but then also still, when we talked about this, like lobbying with a virtual environment. So lots going on there.
Yep.
So Dan, thinking ahead, how do you think that this, obviously there are so many short-term impacts that we see now, but how do you think that this is really going to affect credit unions in the way that we all do business in the long run?
I think you're going to see this really accelerated plans that credit unions had. They may have had a strategic plan to have various technology platforms, whether it's e-signature, so you can get rid of the wet signature, things along those lines, platforms where it's a little more frictionless in terms of getting loans, whether it's mortgages or things along those lines. So I think it's accelerated a lot of the technology for credit unions. And I think you're going to see a lot of them do more teleworking. I think that they were opposed to it. They were kind of forced to do it now. And
Right.
so to continue operations in the future, I think you'll see a little bit more of that. But going forward, you're going to see a lot more focus on digital delivery and really an acceleration of the investment in that technology.
It'll be interesting too to see as members get used to, because they have to get used to some of the mobile technology, digital, all of that, how many of them will continue to use those well beyond the pandemic and throughout their lifetime.
Yeah, and you'll see my 85-year-old mother does online banking, and it's when they get used to it and they get comfortable, and now they're kind of forced to. There's some limited branch operations, some limited drive-through operations, things along those lines. But I think more people are going to be gravitating to the digital platforms, so they can do the online banking from their iPhone, iPad, online computers and stuff like that. So their laptops, and you'll see more of that going on. It's just a natural progression. It was already headed that direction, but now it's accelerated.
Absolutely. Well, great. So I'm curious, I'm going to switch gears a little bit here. How are you doing personally? What's been keeping you sane, if you are sane, through these kind of crazy times? I know you said you're an extrovert. So how are you doing?
I'm doing well. And I get up early in the morning, up about 5:30, and I'll go for a long walk, do 4 or 5 miles. I get back and I'll lift a little weights and stuff, and then have breakfast. And then it's nonstop video conferences like this throughout the day that we're doing, whether it's with regulators or members of Congress or CEOs. I've done a lot of these for the board of directors of credit unions, updates of what's going on out there. But the exercise as well. It's one thing. I've been married 29 years, and seeing each other 3 or 4 hours a day is one thing. Seeing each other 24 hours a day is a completely other thing.
Yeah.
My daughter's 16 and in 10th grade, finishing up her sophomore year in high school, and so she's all about the distance learning, and she's made it very clear to me that she said distant learning stinks, and it's all the boring stuff about school and none of the fun stuff, like
Right.
seeing your friends and things along those lines. And that's my similar experience too. Our
Sure.
entire management team at NAFCU, we pride ourselves on leading by example, managing by walking around, celebrating little victories, celebrating large victories, fist pumps and high fives and things like that. And that hasn't occurred. We still do all staff meetings and management team meetings via Microsoft Teams, but it's not quite the same.
Right.
It's just not quite the same. And so that element of our culture, we worked really hard in creating a culture here that wasn't just only responsive to our members, but also responsive to one another. And I get a lot of emails, folks wanting to come back to work and being back in the office. And I'm one of those people. So but I'm doing well.
Good, good. Well, it sounds like you're getting some good family time in, a lot of exercise.
Forced family time.
Forced family time, yes. Well, Dan, are there any last thoughts you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, just tell them to be well. And I never bet against America. I've been through the savings and loan crisis, of course, 9/11, the financial crisis, and now this pandemic. And the American spirit, especially in the credit union industry and the credit union movement, is so incredibly strong. And so like we are at NAFCU, we're focused on our members and making sure they have the tools necessary to get through this pandemic. If they focus on their membership, they'll be fine. They'll get through this. We are a resilient people. We're a resilient industry, resilient country. We'll get through this.
Absolutely. Well, what a perfect way to wrap up today. Dan, thank you so much for your time and sharing all of your insight and wisdom with us. I'm going to go ahead and link to the NAFCU page in the post of the video here so that our audience can get connected to the resources that you all have if they would like to learn more. In the meantime, Dan, hopefully I get to see you in person one day, again, someday soon. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great day. Be well.
Thanks. You as well. Take care.